with probably 20 or 30 little seedlings and only got about maybe 3 viable seedlings. I think that the real reason and what I was doing wrong was that I was starting with just bagged seed starting soil. And the thing about that is that the bag and the soil can potentially harbor a lot of permethrium and funguses that can cause disease. And there's ways of mitigating that and dealing with that. But I decided that probably the best thing to do is to use a sterile media. And something that really can't harbor any kind of fungus, or it doesn't, harbor it in the bag per se. And so I kind of came to the conclusion. There's rock wool, which is great if you want to go into a hydroponics setup or media setup like that. But what if you just want to go into soil? You can technically transplant from hydroponics or from rock wool into soil. I've had fair success with it, but something I want to try are these. These just simple Jiffy peat pellets. Again, they store pretty easy. You don't have to have any bags of soil around or anything like that. They're just little compressed discs. You soak them in water, although I'm going to soak them in a fertilizer solution. I'm going to show you what I do. It'll definitely get them going and help eliminate any risk of fungal infections, damping off, fungus gnats getting in there. But you can just store them in a Ziploc bag. They seal up. Very low chance of fungal spores getting in here and then growing once you expand them. So just something I thought I'd try. I can't say I've ever done this in the past. I can't say it's ever going to work, but I'll most certainly publish any results that I get. Generally, when you buy these, they come in a tray, like right here when you buy them from Home Depot. And you can kind of see on the package how they sit in there like that. And this is how the bottom of the tray works. They just set in there like so. But this, I like better. It's a Grodan Grow Smart tray. And if you look here, it actually kind of elevates it up out of the tray a little bit. And so you can have water in the bottom, and the bottom of the pods are suspended out of the water and air can circulate around them. So I figured this is probably going to be something better to use. Again, just sterilize it out. I wouldn't recommend using bleach water or something along those lines. I use concentrated hydrogen peroxide. Be very careful with this stuff. If you can find some 35% or 29% in your area, I'll try to find some Amazon links for you for something comparable. But this is probably over 10 times stronger than what you'd buy in the drugstore. You can just dilute it down, put it in a spray bottle, spray this down, let it sit for a couple minutes on there, rinse it off. Any residual hydrogen peroxide will just turn back into water as it dries. So, alrighty. I'm gonna show you how I soak these Jiffy pellets and what I soak them in, because I don't soak them in just water. I add a little fertilizer and some other goodies to it. So this is just a little 2-gallon bucket. What I have in here is just a little aquarium circulation pump, and then I have an aquarium heater. This is a 50 watt. This is a pretty small batch. You could use a 5-gallon bucket if you wanted more. In fact, I'm even going to do a video about how I make my own little compost tea brewer that works in a 5-gallon bucket. This is just a setup for brewing very small amounts of stuff. Okay, first thing I did is I added this stuff. This is a biofungicide. It's a bacteria, and just add it to water. I ran it through an RV water filter. That's going to get most of the chlorine out. I add a little bit of vitamin C powder, let it sit and just run with the heater in there for a couple hours. That'll dechlorinate it. Add maybe a teaspoon of this. When it circulates in that warm water, it brews this bacteria. This bacteria attacks funguses and destroys them. So therefore, very low chance of permethrin being able to cause damping off, which is what happened up there. So after that's cooked and you've got a nice bacterial colony of that started, first thing I add is some recharge. Mycorrhizal fungi, lots of good stuff, lots of beneficials. Again, it kind of does the same thing in regards. I'm gonna add, heaping teaspoon of that in there. And I got the circulation pump going, so it's gonna help mix it in. Turns it nice and dark. I wouldn't let this brew overnight. I like to let the Redovise biofungicide, let that cook up in there and run and get that established. Then I like to add this. Second, SLF 100. Good fungi or good enzyme product. Definitely helps make the endosperm more available that's already in the seed. So what that means in English is that it makes the packet of nutrients that the seed already contains, it makes that more available. So I'll add a teaspoon of that. And this is exactly 1 gallon of water in my bucket, so it's pretty easy. Next up, just a low dose organic fertilizer, just so they do kind of have something to munch on. Alrighty, mix that up. I'm just doing 2 capfuls of this. There's quite a few stuff that you could use instead of this, but this is just kind of what I have on hand. Floralicious Plus, definitely shake that up. Good product. This stuff's nasty. A lot of amino acids. Okay, how much do I use? I just do 1 milliliter. Put that cap back on, that stuff's gross. Well, all this stuff is really gross. And I've saved the best for last. Grow More Jumpstart. Really good source of tricantinol. Definitely gets the seeds going. That and seaweed extract, but in this case I'm going to add 3 milliliters. Kind of clear out my pipette. Stir anything up. Again, that circulation pump's kind of nice. It says on here 1 milliliter per gallon, but I like to run it a little longer. And what I've done here, this is a gallon paint strainer. I just put however many you want to start in this, That way fishing mount's a lot easier when they expand. And then you just simply set them in there. And rather than expanding with just water, I should have tied that shut, but oh well. They will expand with all kinds of nutrients and mycorrhizal fungi and anti-disease beneficial bacteria. So I just let this sit for maybe an hour or so. No need to have it to go overnight, but we'll just see what happens in a little bit. All right, okay, so I have my Jiffy peat pellets. I had them soaking in my my recharge solution, I guess you could call it. I don't know. Yeah, it could be a better name for it. Why don't you leave me a name in the comments? Oh, maybe we could call it Taylor Swift juice or something. She had a huge concert here in Kansas City, so can't say I'm a huge fan, but I can't say I despise her. Alright, okay, enough of that. Alright, just take these, the seeds, and simply just take something. I'm just using some tweezers and just making a little hole in the top of these and just kind of cover them up. You don't need to bury the seeds deep. You only plant seeds twice as deep as they are wide. So maybe you're looking at like 1/8 of an inch deep. Barely, just cover them up. So, all right, I will get started with that. All right, start with the tomatoes here. I'm not labeling these. I will figure out where they go, what they are. This is just a lone tomato seedling. I'm just gonna barely plant them in there. Just barely cover them up. Just kind of almost set it on the dirt and just kind of push some dirt over it. And one other tip is I have this full of water, and I actually added a little bit of that biofungicide to the water in the bottom, and I sprayed everything down with it after I sanitized everything with hydrogen peroxide. Because like I've said earlier, hydrogen peroxide, you spray it down, and then bada bing, bada boom, it disappears, it breaks down into water, and it's like you never put a disinfectant on there, so you don't ever have to worry about that having an effect. So you can see here, I'm just kind of pushing this down into the soil with my tweezers. Almost. Habanero blends. Okay, so just get in. Yeah. I've had pretty good success with these peat pellets in the past. I'm just sowing 2, maybe 3 seeds in one. you know, not much to these. I can't say I've ever tried soaking them in the recharge solution. I don't know what that is in there. Let's set that aside. Alrighty. Okay. Maybe we'll just do some cherry tomato hybrid. I got one left. Oh, wait, no, I got a couple left. They're just really tiny. Okay. Okay, yeah, just get them in there. Remember, not too deep. Not too deep. I think I'll do a cucumber. These are little bigger seeds. You can breed germinate bigger seeds if you want. For this guy, I'm just gonna do a little hole there. Covered up. Ooh, orange panini. Those are always fun peppers. So what's everybody's favorite video games? I know they're coming out with a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which, you know, I guess they've done stuff like that in the past, like Resident Evil, where it was a video game first and then it came out to a movie. But I remember when that whole concept came out, of having the video game into a movie, it just seems so weird. Now it's like norm. Oh, that's trash. Oh, jalapenos. I can't forget you. I think this whole row is just going to be jalapeno, dedicated to jalapenos. I'm just going to do 2 in a peat pod. Two in a peat pod. Yeah, I got the seed sticking to my... I guess one of the concerns that I've got with this, soaking them in recharge, is that there will be too much bacterial growth in the medium, and it will steal all of that nitrogen from the plants. It's called nitrogen drift, is the concept. All right. Okay. But I did put a little bit of food in there. These are just tomatoes. What else could I do? More jalapenos. Those are always the best. My favorite. Good old jalapenos. Oh, they should make a Minecraft gardening edition. I don't know, might get youth into this stuff. I don't know, there's enough people out there interested in it. So, maybe not. That was a fun game as a kid, Minecraft. Minecraft, and I also, if anybody remembers a game called Pocket Tanks. I remember in middle school, once you know, we had computer class, and this is in the early 2000s, and Mr. Lang was his name. He, you know, if you had your work done after class, or, you know, if you got your work done early, he'd let you play, well, we may have played Minecraft. I really can't remember. I think some people played it. I wish I could remember. There was that one game, I can't remember the name. I don't know, it may have been Minecraft. Nah. But I remember my favorite game was Pocket Tanks. And it was, we had these little tanks, and you would shoot stuff at each other. And I remember, I just thought it was the greatest thing ever. So, all right. I definitely, if you're gonna fill this tray up, this Grow Smart tray, again, I will most certainly leave a link in the description, because you're probably gonna have to buy this off Amazon. They're gonna be really hard to find in a store. And I did add some of the biofungicide to this water underneath here, and I also sprayed everything down. If you look here, I have this on a heat pad, getting warm. Bubble foil insulation to insulate it so it reflects the heat up. This is probably a little overkill, but it was just sitting on there, this old ugly blanket. Again, I have it plugged into my heat mat controller. I have it set at 78 degrees, so 78 degrees. I have the probe poked through a hole, suction cup to the side. You can take a pod, if you have one that kind of fell apart, use it as something to sense the actual temperature of the media. One of the things I don't like about that is when you pick the dome up, it's gonna pull that probe out of the media, so it kind of makes that a pain. So you might not want to do that. Oh, I've got some floaters here. All right, so set your dome on there. I know, rocket science. I like this dome. This dome rocks. In fact, I will definitely leave a link in the description because it actually has a little cutout and you can just set the light on top of it. In fact, I will show you a picture once this is all kind of, you know, going with the light and everything. So, but yeah, that's all there is to it. I will keep you updated as far as the progress of this, if it works, if it becomes another failure. But yeah, that's about it. And I do recommend, I haven't done it because this is a new dome, running some taping some just cheap weather stripping to this here, and then sealing up the points where the weather stripping meets. That way it doesn't leak water. And then just set the heat mat controller. No need for a light just yet, but yeah, I'll show you what that looks like here.